Welcome back. In this video, we will be using nmap as usual to identify servers on another machine, some basic FTP commands to list and retrieve files from it, Gobuster to find out pages hosted on a web server, along with some parameters as well to speed up the whole process, and answer the questions on the HackTheBox portal. So without further ado, let's dive into today's video. The content of this video is not meant to encourage or endorse any illegal activities. Always obtain appropriate permission and adhere to legal and ethical guidelines when conducting cybersecurity related activities. During the intro, the scans were completed and we can see that we have the web server running on this particular host and also FTP. For now, I'm going to try and gain access to the FTP service, and I'm going to try and log in with the anonymous user. As shown on screen, we have a return of 230 and a login successful. In order to view the files that are hosted on this particular FTP server, we're just going to hit dir and we will be able to list all the contents of the folder. For us to download the files, we can use the get command as shown on screen here. I will exit the FTP service here and print on our terminal the contents of the file that we have just downloaded. As we can see here, the contents of the file seem to have usernames and passwords according to their file names, and we can see that they might actually be credentials. The next thing that came to mind was to try and authenticate against the FTP service with these particular credentials. But as you can see here, it didn't work out for the first user, so I kind of gave up. Then I remembered that we had also a web service running on this particular server, so I thought maybe we should explore that path. The first thing that came to mind was to open the web page and try to see if there are any login buttons or login forms, but I couldn't see anything that was clearly visible to myself. In this case, since there are no particular links or forms visible on the web page, I will be using Gobuster, since this is the right tool to use in order for us to see and enumerate the web pages on this particular web server. This might clearly show us what page is used to login, etc. The command I issued for Gobuster today includes -t, followed by 100. This increases the amount of threads to 100 and should speed up the process of enumerating the directories of this particular web server. I will also include -x at the end, PHP and HTML, since these are normally the files that are used for login forms and so on. The word list used here is the default that is bundled up in the Kali install. Here we can see we already have some kind of results, and there's one in particular which is login.php. And I think we should explore this since the name implies a login page. I will just reprint the credentials over here to make them easier to access. And I will be trying them one by one to see which one will give us a successful login. But it seems that finally the admin credentials have worked and we managed to successfully log on to the page. Thanks to the admin credentials, we also have managed to obtain the flag. Alrighty, so since we have the flag finally, we can just go ahead and go back to the portal in order to finish up this particular challenge. -C can be used to employ the default script on nmap. FTP runs by default on port 21, but since this is mentioning also the version, we should get this from the nmap scan we have carried out earlier. We can obtain the FTP code that was returned to us after the login from the terminal. So I will just go ahead, load that up and copy it in like this. The username I have inserted in order to log on to the FTP service was anonymous. In order for us to download files from the FTP service, we will use the get command. In our user list, the admin user seems like it has the highest privileges, so I'm just going to use that here. Same as we did for our FTP service details, I will refer to the output of the nmap scan carried out earlier to paste in the version of the web server. In order to specify file types on Gobuster, we use -x. The file that we have identified that will provide the opportunity to authenticate is the login.php, and this was listed on Gobuster's output. And lastly, we can obtain the flag from the web portal that we have successfully logged on with the admin credentials and paste it in like this. Well done on conquering the Crocodile challenge on HackTheBox. Remember, securing web applications requires robust authentication. Always prioritize ethical practices and never exploit vulnerabilities without proper authorization. I invite you to like this video if you liked it and to subscribe for more tutorials like this one.